This show is part of One Place, a daily network of focused briefings across the stories people follow most.
Welcome to the Roundup. We have a packed show today covering the highs and lows of the NCAA tournament, major professional sports updates, and some unexpected drama on the baseball diamond.
St. John's sends a loud message to the committee.
Nebraska and Kentucky secure massive first-round tournament wins.
The WNBA finalizes a transformative new collective bargaining agreement.
High Point and VCU deliver stunning March Madness upsets.
Santa Clara's coach fumes over a missed timeout call.
Two Guardians pitchers face unpaid leave amid gambling probe.
Otega Owe saves Kentucky from a massive financial disaster.
Robot umpires are exposing baseball players lying about height.
Duke narrowly avoids an upset after disrespecting their opponent.
Student broadcasters go viral for their electric Cinderella call.
Let's dive in. The opening round of the NCAA men's basketball tournament was a tale of two very different days. Thursday was filled with the kind of high-stakes drama fans crave, while Friday felt much more predictable. One of the biggest stories coming out of the East region was St. John's. Despite winning both the Big East regular season and tournament titles, they were handed a surprising number 5 seed. Head coach Rick Pitino didn't hold back his frustration, suggesting the Big East isn't getting the respect it once did. He felt his team was unfairly shipped across the country to San Diego.
Pitino's comments really highlight the perceived disrespect toward the Big East this year, which only saw 3 teams make the tournament. However, the Red Storms certainly played like they had a chip on their shoulder, dominating Northern Iowa with a 79-53 victory. Zuby Ejiofor was a force on the court, helping the team prove they belonged much higher than a 5 seed. While the committee might have looked at the overall conference strength, St. John's is making it very clear that they are a dangerous contender regardless of what number is next to their name in the bracket.
Next up, while the top seeds mostly survived, the first round still provided some historic moments for programs that have been waiting a long time for success. Nebraska stands out as one of the biggest winners, securing the program's first-ever tournament win by rolling over Troy. Coach Fred Hoiberg has spent years building this roster, and seeing Price Sandfort drop 23 points to lead the Huskers was a testament to that patience. It wasn't just a win, it was a statement that Nebraska basketball has finally arrived on the national stage. They now look ahead to a tough matchup against Vanderbilt in the South region.
On the other side of the bracket, St. Louis also made a massive statement by dismantling Georgia. The Billikens played with a frantic, aggressive pace that saw them score 66 points in the paint alone. This win was particularly sweet for coach Josh Schertz and star Robbie Avila, who felt the sting of being snubbed from the tournament last year while at Indiana State. Their performance suggests they could be a real threat to Michigan in the next round. It's these kinds of redemption stories that make the first round so compelling, as teams fight to prove the doubters wrong and extend their seasons.
Now let's shift to... Moving away from the court for a moment, the WNBA has just finalized a landmark collective bargaining agreement that is being hailed as a massive win for the players. This new deal is truly transformative, introducing the first comprehensive revenue-sharing model in women's professional sports history. We are looking at a future where maximum salaries could reach $1.4 million by next year, and potentially $2.4 million by 2032. For context, the team's salary caps are projected to jump from $1.5 million last year to over $11 million in the next decade. This is a complete game-changer for the league's financial structure.
Beyond the salary increases, the CBA addresses several quality-of-life issues that have been points of contention for years. Charter air travel is now officially codified, and there are new requirements for enhanced training in treatment facilities. They've also secured better housing benefits and expanded family planning and mental health coverage. It even includes a pathway for stars on rookie deals, like Caitlin Clark, to reach maximum contracts sooner. This agreement doesn't just improve pay, it professionalizes the entire experience for these athletes, ensuring the league's growth actually benefits the people on the court, who are driving the popularity of the sport.
Moving on. Returning to the 2026 tournament action, the first day delivered exactly the kind of chaos we expect from March Madness. While Nebraska was making history, number 12 seed High Point was busy pulling off a thrilling upset against number 5 Wisconsin. It was a game that came down to the wire and set the tone for a day where nothing felt certain. Even the top overall seed, Duke, found themselves in a dogfight against a feisty Siena squad. The afternoon schedule was a relentless stream of highlights, proving once again that the gap between the mid-majors and the traditional powerhouses is closing every single year.
The upsets didn't stop there, as number 11 VCU managed to sneak out an overtime win against North Carolina after trailing by 19 points. It was an incredible comeback that left Tar Heel fans in shock. Meanwhile, Michigan had to fight off a very tough Howard team that was riding high after a first four victory. Howard actually kept it close through the first half before the Wolverines' offense finally took control. With 16 games down and 16 more to go to finish the first round, the bracket is already looking a bit messy. Fans are now bracing for even more surprises, as the women's tournament also kicks off its opening round.
Now to one of the most controversial moments of the tournament happened during the Santa Clara and Kentucky game. Santa Clara was just seconds away from a massive upset after Alan Graves hit a clutch three-pointer with only 2.4 seconds left. However, Kentucky's Otega Owe responded with a miracle near half-court shot to tie the game and force overtime, where Kentucky eventually won. Santa Clara head coach Herb Sendek was adamant after the game that he had called a timeout immediately after Graves' shot to set his defense. He claimed the referees simply didn't acknowledge him, which allowed Kentucky to inbound and get that final shot off without resistance.
Sendek mentioned that the video evidence clearly shows him trying to signal for the timeout. If it had been granted, he likely would have had his team foul Kentucky to prevent any three-point attempt, essentially sealing the win for the Broncos. Instead, the lack of a whistle led to a soul-crushing loss for a Santa Clara team that had reached the tournament for the first time in 30 years. It's a bitter end to a record-breaking 26-win season for the Broncos. While Kentucky moves on to face Iowa State, the conversation around this game will likely center on that missed officiating moment and what could have been for the underdog.
Next up, in Major League Baseball news, the Cleveland Guardians will no longer be paying pitchers Emmanuel Clase and Luis Ortiz as a federal investigation into pitch reading continues. Both players have been placed on unpaid leave following their indictment on charges related to a gambling scheme. Prosecutors allege the duo accepted payoffs from gamblers in the Dominican Republic to influence the velocity and outcome of specific pitches for prop bets. This is a serious blow to the Guardians' bullpen, especially losing a three-time All-Star like Clase. The league and the Players Association agreed to this non-disciplinary leave while the legal proceedings move toward a trial scheduled for May.
The financial implications are significant, particularly for Clase, who was set to earn $6 million this year. The charges include wire fraud conspiracy, which carries heavy legal weight. MLB has stated that this agreement is not an admission of guilt, but they are monitoring the situation closely after alerting federal law enforcement themselves. It's a dark cloud hanging over the start of the season for Cleveland. Pitch rigging allegations strike at the very heart of the game's integrity, and the outcome of this trial could have long-lasting effects on how the league handles gambling-related discipline. For now, both pitchers remain away from the team indefinitely.
Now let's discuss. Returning to that wild Kentucky victory, there was more at stake than just a spot in the second round. Kentucky reportedly spent a staggering $22 million in NIL money to assemble this roster. A first-round exit would have been an absolute disaster for the program's boosters and reputation. Otega Owe's heroics didn't just save the game, they saved the season from becoming a historic embarrassment. Owe finished with 35 points, 8 rebounds, and 7 assists, putting the team on his back when they were on the ropes. His ability to finish inside the paint and then hit that miracle heave will be remembered in Lexington for years.
The ending was pure March Madness magic, even with the timeout controversy we mentioned earlier. Because no timeout was called, the action was fluid and frantic, leading to 3 incredible possessions in the final 15 seconds. For Santa Clara, it's pure heartbreak, but for Kentucky, it's a chance to justify that massive investment. Owe was ranked as a top player entering the tournament, and he certainly lived up to the billing. Now that they've survived this scare, the Wildcats have to refocus. They can't afford another slow start if they want to make a deep run and prove that their expensive roster was worth every penny spent.
Next up, in a lighter bit of baseball news, the implementation of the automated ball strike system, or robot umps, is exposing a common secret among players. They've been lying about their height. To make the system work, MLB needs precise measurements for every batter to define their individual strike zone. This has led to some hilarious discoveries, like Alex Bregman shrinking from 6 feet to 5'10" over the course of his career moves. Gavin Lux also lost a few inches once the official measurements were taken. It turns out that the height listed on the back of a baseball card isn't always the most accurate reflection of reality.
The reason this matters is that the strike zone is now mathematically tied to a player's actual height, starting at 27% and extending to over 53%. In the past, umpires just looked at the shoulders and the belt, so a little exaggeration on paper didn't hurt. Now, if a player wants a fair shake on a challenge, the software needs the truth. Interestingly, MLB tried a 3D cube model for the zone, but found it allowed pitchers to paint corners in ways that didn't feel natural. They've settled on a 2D plane for now, which should lead to a slightly smaller and more consistent strike zone across the league.
Now to Duke entered the tournament as the #1 overall seed, but they nearly became a victim of their own overconfidence. Before their game against Siena, some players reportedly viewed the matchup as a cakewalk. That attitude almost backfired when Siena, led by former Syracuse star Jerry McNamara, took an 11-point lead into halftime. It was the largest halftime deficit a #1 seed has ever faced against a 16 seed. Senior center Malik Brown admitted in a halftime interview that they had taken their opponent lightly, a rare and honest admission that highlighted just how much they were struggling to match Siena's intensity and game plan.
While Duke eventually clawed back for a 71-65 win, the scare exposed some real vulnerabilities. Star player Cameron Boozer noted that they got punched in the mouth and learned a harsh lesson about the single elimination format. Beyond the attitude issues, Duke is also dealing with the absence of sophomore center Patrick Ngongba due to a foot injury. He's their second best player and a key part of their defensive identity. If he can't return soon, Duke's dreams of a national championship might be in jeopardy, especially if they continue to overlook opponents. They face a tough TCU team next, and there won't be any room for error.
Finally, we wrap up with a feel-good story from the broadcasting booth. High Point University student broadcasters Jimmy Rosselli and Griffin Wright have become viral sensations following their school's upset over Wisconsin. The duo, known for The Jimmy and Griff Show, provided a high-octane, unfiltered call that captured the pure joy of the moment. When High Point secured the win with a final block, Rosselli's shout about the glass slipper and a Cinderella story resonated with millions of fans online. It was a raw, emotional performance that reminded everyone why college sports are so special. They weren't just reporting the game. They were living every second of it.
Rosselli and Wright have actually been building a following for a while, having gone viral previously for a conference championship call. But this national stage took things to a whole new level. Their chemistry as friends and their genuine passion for their school made the broadcast stand out in a sea of professional commentary. It's a great reminder that March Madness isn't just about the athletes on the floor, it's about the entire community that surrounds these teams. For these two students, this was their own shining moment, proving that a great call can be just as memorable as a game-winning shot when it comes from the heart.
That's our roundup for today. Thanks for joining us for this daily briefing. Be sure to follow the show so you never miss an update on the stories that matter most.